Welcome back to Health and Wellness, the spiritual journey to becoming, where we learn the spiritual applications to health and wellness. Well, let's talk about colonoscopy day. What happened? So I went with my husband and my 3-year-old daughter. We drove there. First thing, they sent me to registration to fill out paperwork, do the payment, go up to lab and do a urine sample, make sure I wasn't pregnant. Then the nurses brought me back into the room, started an IV and put me on fluids, lactated ringers. Then 2 doctors came in, the anesthesiologist and the gastroenterologist, to make sure I was the right patient, the right procedure, clarify some things, answer any questions, and explain to me what they were gonna do. I waited for about 40 minutes in my gown, and it took me back to a different room. And there were about 5 people there, the GI doctor, anesthesiologist, and about 3 nurses. So 5 total. And I put a nasal cannula on me for oxygen flow, turned me on my left side. Anesthesiologist told me the medicine was going to be propofol. It has a short half-life and it acts rather quickly, so it doesn't stay in your system for long. And so he started it, and within probably about 20 seconds I was looking at the doctor, and all of a sudden I was out. But I was rudely awoken by just a weird vibration sensation, something back there in my rear end, and they were already finishing up and pulling everything out, like all the tubings and everything that they use. And I also had a really watery right eye, so it kept wiping it, and I pretty much passed out again. They took me back to my original room, and it took me roughly 40 minutes to get more with it. My heart rate kept dropping into the 30s and 40s, so it was kind of hard to stay alert. They kept coming in and doing all sorts of things, shaking me a little bit, talking to me, asking me questions, taking my socks off, tickling my feet, feeling my pulses, just to kind of get me to be more alert. But it took me about 40 minutes, which from what I learned from the nurses there, it usually just takes about 15 to 20 minutes. So I was a little delayed. And after that, I got dressed, was pretty dizzy and drowsy. So my husband luckily was there to take me home. And they won't do it if you don't have a driver. But they were in the waiting room. So I was undecisive whether to do, because I was sleepy and hungry. So go to sleep, eat food. We ended up going to IHOP, and I was having a lot of gas, passing a lot of gas and abdominal cramping for about a whole day and a half. And I didn't have my first bowel movement until about a day and a half later. But from what I learned, it does take about 36 hours for your food to digest through your system. So that was neat to correlate the two and actually see that it was true. What else? Oh, a fear that I had going in was a fear that the doctors or somebody would mess up and give me the wrong medicine and that I would die. And there goes Jessica on a colonoscopy day. But the verse that really comforted me during that time was Mark 2:15 through 17. While Jesus was having dinner at Levi's house, many tax collectors and sinners were eating with him and his disciples, for there were many who followed him. When the teachers of the law, who were Pharisees, saw him eating with the sinners and tax collectors, they asked his disciples, "Why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners?" On hearing this, Jesus said to them, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." These Bible verses resonated with me because it reminded me that my soul was taken care of, and all matters with my soul are already accounted for. I have called on the great physician, which is Jesus Christ, and I need not fear death. So even if I was to die in the hands of a human physician, I am safe in the hands of the great physician, God Almighty himself. So I encourage you, if you have not or do not know the great physician, Jesus Christ, get on your knees and call on his name. For those who call on his name and believe in him will be saved. So you need not fear death. Well, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a blessed day.